Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Flower Power Live. Tonight, our plant, this week, our plant of the week is bee balm, and bee balm is Monarda fistulosa, and we're going to talk a little bit about how important it is in the ecosystem, and a little bit about how important your ecosystems are. So welcome, my name is Allison from The Well Cultivated Life, and I love sharing my plant knowledge with all of you. So thank you so much for joining me. And so bee balm, this is one of the most appropriately named plants. The bees absolutely love it, especially the bumblebees, butterflies, hummingbirds, those little hummingbird wasps, like hummingbird moths. They all love to come around and sip the nectar of the bee balm. And it is the common name, bee balm is a common name of Monarda. And this is Monarda fistulosa, but there's also Monarda didyma, which is the more like the reddish one that you see more in garden centers. And there are a lot of different species of about 17 different species of Monarda that are native to the North America. So a lot of the plants that I talk about on my show that grow here were brought over from Europe with European settlers. So this is one that is native to the Americas and was used a lot by the indigenous people that lived here, or live here, I should say. So now Monarda, this is the one that grows in my garden, or actually it kind of like grows itself in my garden because it is a highly naturalizing species. Now, when I say naturalizing, that's kind of like the nice word for annoyingly spreading all the time. Kind of like how, you know, when you call somebody organized instead of anal. So we'll call this naturalizing, but it is a beautiful plant and it's very difficult to pull. It's easy to pull out, but it's hard to pull out because it is just so incredibly important to the garden ecosystem, especially in for all these pollinators. So it's a great plant to put into a pollinator garden. This is something that's become more popular over the last maybe 10 to 15 years, is to intentionally plant a garden that's attractive and supportive for pollinators. Now, one of the big things that people will plant for, at least in the area where I live, is for planting milkweed for monarch butterflies. And because that is the species that the monarch lays its eggs and the caterpillars live off of. But once the butterfly hatches, the butterfly doesn't eat the milkweed, and so the caterpillar eats. So you need to have a lot of other plants available for the monarch to feed on. And it, of course, is a butterfly, so it likes, you know, regular flowers, just like all the other pollinators. So it's a great thing to put into your garden, loved by all. Now, it's in the mint family, which means it's rich in that same thymol, which is the kind of active ingredient, the real aromatic compound that's found in oregano and thyme. And so it can be used a lot in the same ways. It can be used as a culinary herb. And one of the nice things about it is that it has a much greater hardiness than those herbs. Those herbs tend to come more from the Mediterranean type of climate. And so generally they're hardy to about zone 5, but most of the bee balms are hardy to zone 3. So it can grow farther north where some of these other Mediterranean herbs just really can't survive. Now, here's a nice fun fact for you. Some of the other common names for bee balm are wild bergamot, and that's because it has a scent real similar to the bergamot flavoring that was used that's used in Earl Grey tea, and it's also was used in the northeastern area by the Oswego native tribes, and so it's also has a nickname of Oswego tea. And both of these pieces of information put together, a little fun fact is that after the Boston Tea Party, when the colonists basically really cut off their supply of tea that was being shipped over here from England, from Asia to England, and then over, is that they used this plant. I got the idea, of course, from the Oswego natives, and they used this plant instead for their tea until coffee became relatively popular and everyone gave up on tea and started drinking coffee. But some of the other traditional uses of Monarda, it's in, like I said, it's in the mint family, so it's very aromatic. And Matthew Wood, now this is a cool thing. Usually I'm looking in the Old World Herbal. This is Matthew Wood's New World Herbal, and so it's all about the plants that are native to North America. So that's the book that I got some of this information from. He calls it a polycrest, which means a plant of many uses. And this is really because of this thymol that I was talking about, which has some real antimicrobial types of properties. And that comes in handy, of course, for all kinds of ailments and infections. It is a nervine, which means it helps to calm the nervous system, which is similar for all of the plants in the mint family. But it's also a stimulant, and it has kind of a unique property that it can help to move heat, like stuck heat from different areas. So that helps with inflammation, including urinary tract inflammation, and also can help to kind of stimulate the gallbladder if that's getting kind of stagnant and keep that moving properly. Some other types of use, including just taking the boiled leaves, putting them in a cloth and using it for sore eyes and headaches, muscle spasms, and under bandages to slow bleeding. That was something that was commonly used for during like different battles. And it also can be made into a strong infusion for a mouthwash or canker sores, mouth sores, and again, the sort of antimicrobial tendency. So some of the, one of the best known uses though, a couple kind of cool uses, that it's very good in balancing the sort of intestinal ecosystem. And what that means is that it just helps to keep things more balanced, so that, especially in a case where you have a yeast growth, such as Candida. And Candida comes into the system when things are out of balance, and that allows the yeast growth to kind of overtake the normal microflora and the normal gut biome that's in there. And so it's very commonly used for Candida. It helps to just kind of tone the pores on the large intestine, and then it kind of prevents a leaky gut, and it just kind of helps it all keep in good working shape. It's also, and I did not know this, is one of the herbs known to help with Meniere's disease and tinnitus, and it just restores, again, this sort of nervous system work and the tissues in the air, and can really help give some relief to people that have those conditions. So it's pretty much good for the body's entire ecosystem, right? Now, the flower essence, according to Whispering Roots Apothecary, the bee balm essence greets you when you are ready to live your life without the old stories, belief systems, and outdated behaviors that have become embedded in the collective human consciousness. So when you are ready to clean up your ecosystem, the bee balm, it'll keep you grounded, but also helps you to integrate some more like spiritual information, higher frequencies of energy that can help you make these kinds of shifts. It also helps with igniting sort of your creativity, passion, and zest. And getting, bee balm, these little flowers, we think of flowers, oh, it's going to be a sweet. It's actually pretty spicy. I'm working at a camp this week, and we did a herb tasting today, and we have this growing at the school, and everybody tasted. We tasted the bee balm, and it's a lot spicier than you might think. So it gives you a bit of a spice to your life when you're ready to get things going. And one of the other things it does, it works to kind of like clean out your keep things cleaned out. So the Green Hope Farm likens it to the process of cleaning out neglected and overstuffed closets. Get rid of your old baggage, even the stuff you don't even know is there. help you to resolve and clear up unfinished business and cleanse your entire energetic system. So again, systems work. This works within our whole system. Now, the oracle card for this week is from the Herbcrafter's Tarot, and it's the Two of Fire. And in this picture here, it shows some plants, some bee balm plants that have been grown. This looks like the Monarda didyma here. They're sitting on a hearth, and there's some gloves, and they've started them from seed and getting ready to plant them out into the garden to help attract the pollinators, and it shows some bees kind of buzzing all around there. So planting bee balm really helps to stir activity and ignite growth by shaping a diverse ecosystem. It really helps, as I said earlier, with keeping the bees and the pollinators and everyone all attracted to the garden. It heals with a kick. It's very spicy, and so it kind of likes to get things going. And just like what it's saying is, you know, just like these attractor, like what are you attracting to your flowers, right? What are you attracting to your flowers? Now, this is the Two of Fire, and the twos are all plants that are beneficial to pollinators in this deck. And this, what they're showing here is how the choices that you make, like I'm choosing to plant bee balm in my garden. What are you choosing to plant in your garden? What are you choosing to upgrade your ecosystem with? And that these types of decisions of what's going to affect our ecosystem, when one part is out of balance, the whole thing can be off. If you look at natural systems, think about one predator gets over hunted, for example, and all of a sudden the whole system goes out of balance. So taking a little bit of a look at this idea of the ecosystem, let's think about your ecosystem. What makes a healthy ecosystem? Having things in balance. So within our lives, we have different types of ecosystems. We might have our social ecosystem. We'll have our family ecosystem, and then we might have we have like our internal body ecosystem. And well, so this week, I'm going to challenge you to just kind of take a look at your ecosystem. There are critical components that make the system work right. So take a look. How healthy are there some things that you need to plant? Are there some things, are there some invasive species that are coming in and disrupting everything? What makes a healthy system? So this is your challenge for this week. Take a look at your system. So a lot of times we get so focused on, ooh, what's wrong with me and this, and we don't kind of look at how the greater system is affecting our life. How our choices, this is one of the things the card is saying, how our choices that we make, what we choose to plant, what we choose to bring in, can really affect the whole system. And it's one of the things I said that I really liked. Oh, and so again, as always, make sure that you're kind of you're using your intuition to try to make the decisions about, you know, what feels right in your system. So that is our message from Bee Balm tonight. It's getting to the end of its blooming cycle. So I was like, got to do it. And I love how tall it is. I didn't have to move it anywhere to get it right into the picture. It's so beautiful, unlike my little teeny tiny self-heal that I had last week. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you will consider joining my Flower Power Facebook group. I'll put the link down below. Follow me on Instagram. My handle is Cultivate My Life. And I will see you all next week. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.